Soviet nuclear-powered submarine K-33 collides with Finnish merchant vessel MS Finn Clipper in the Danish Straits. Both vessels were extremely damaged in the collision, but both would make it to port. The year is 1963, and this glorious car was on offer at Pontiac Performance Personal Luxury Car, the Grand Prix. But before getting into all of it, I'm Jay. Welcome to What It's Like, the automotive channel that digs lost and forgotten classic cars. We dive in deep on the history, specs, design. It's almost like seeing these cars for the very first time. If that sounds like a channel that you will totally dig, subscribe and hit the bell icon next to it to never miss a video. 1963 Pontiac model lineup. These aren't in any particular order: Tempest, Catalina, Grand Prix, Star Chief, Bonneville, and then there were wagons. Ponton would offer the Grand Prix from 1962 through 1987 in rear-wheel drive format, 1988 through 2008 in front-wheel drive format. Size would vary during its production run, offered in 8 generations. 1963 falls in the first generation, which was produced 1962, 63, and 64, was only available as a 2-door coupe. The Grand Prix was Pontiac's all-new model in 1962. It was Pontiac's performance-oriented GT car personal luxury offering. 1963, Pontiac Grand Prix was designed by Jack Humbert, which it's worth pointing out, Humbert had a hand in designing the 62, but the 63 was completely new design. Speaking of new design, let's compare. 1962 on top, 63 on the bottom, starting in the front. Headlights go from horizontal to vertical. Bumpers are different. Turn signals have been revised and resized, relocated. Rectangular on 62 versus circular on 63. 62 has fender markers that aren't found on the 63. Side mirror locations are totally different. Check out the windshields between these two. Moving to the side profile, just look at how different the side bumper profiles are in the front and rear. Trim around the wheel wells on the 63 versus naked on the 62. And this is why we do these comparisons. Just look what one year can do. The 63 is very slab styling, for lack of a better term, with an ever so faint bevel line at the belt line, whereas the 62 is more sculpted. Vent windows, roof profiles, completely different. Gas doors are on the same side, but the 63 has added trim at the bottom right corner. GP badge is moved from the door on the 62 to the rear quarter on the 63. Moving to the rear section, both have this rear grille effect, but done completely differently. Taillights, bumpers, back glass, completely different. Backup lights are in the same location though. Pontiac on the rear of the 62, whereas the 63 doesn't have Pontiac anywhere on the exterior of the car. Jumping inside to take a gander at the dash and interior situation, which both have that console, done differently of course. Dash layouts are completely different. Which one do you like better? Let's talk specs. 211.9 inches long, 78.7 inches wide, 54.4 inches tall. It rides a wheelbase of 120 inches. It weighs 3,910 pounds. Price, $3,490, which is equivalent to you spending $34,985.08 in the year 2024. An absolute bargain for this car. Total 1963 Pontiac production was 590,071 units, of which total GP Grand Prix was 72,959 units. Moving on to engines. 2 engines on offer, a couple different flavors. 389 cubic inch displacement overhead valve V8, 6.4 liters. It's good for conflicting information. 230. The advertisement said 303 for the Grand Prix, up to 312 horsepower with the tri-power setup at 5,000 RPM. Up to 430 pound-feet or 583 newton meters around 3,800 RPM. With a bore of 4.06 inches and a stroke of 3.75 inches, compression is anywhere between 8.6 to 1025 to 1. 5 main bearings. With the tri-power setup, 312 horsepower backed with a 3-speed manual transmission, 0 to 60 could be had in 6.7 seconds with a theoretical top speed of 137 miles per hour while achieving an average 9.4 miles to the gallon. Mileage may vary. These are all just jumping off points. Mileage may vary. Moving on to the biggest and baddest engine on offer, 421 cubic inch displacement, high output. Overhead valve V8, 6.9 liters. It's good for 370 horsepower at 5,200 RPM, 460 pound-feet, or 624 newton meters at 3,800 RPM, with a bore of 4.09 inches and a stroke of 3.75 inches. Compression is 1075 to 1, 5 main bearings. When backed with a 3-speed manual transmission, 0 to 60 could be had around 5.6 seconds. Theoretical top speed of 150 miles per hour while achieving an average fuel economy rating of 8.6 miles to the gallon. Transmissions. You could have the 3-speed manual heavy duty, 4-speed manual, 4-speed automatic roto-hydromatic. Standard equipment included but not limited to 2-speed electric windshield wipers, front bucket seats, padded assist grip, full carpeting throughout, custom steering wheel, tachometer with manual transmission, vacuum pressure gauge with automatic transmission. The seat material is Morocide. It's said to be softer and more pliable than leather and was offered in 7 interior colors, which really makes you realize how bland things really have become. Options, not getting into all of the options, but here are a few. Power brakes, power steering, power windows, Super D radio with AM, FM, cruise control, tilt wheel.
This is the largest selling car in the personal sports car field. It's the Grand Prix by Pontiac. In only its second year, the Grand Prix already outsells the 3 other cars that might be compared with it. One reason, the way it looks. Classic styling. Another reason, the way it drives. Tremendous performance. This is the Grand Prix by Pontiac.
Are you in the market for a 1963 Pontiac Grand Prix? If you are, I know a place that has one for sale. Classic Auto Mall, Morgantown, Pennsylvania. They also have 1,000 other cars besides this one for sale when recording this episode. For more information, pricing, and pictures, as well as hours, directions to get to Classic Auto Mall, be sure to click the link below after the show. Let's talk styling. Look at how this has a hood over top of the top light. Also, look at how this is. It almost looks like they took a bezel from the 50s and they, instead of it being horizontal, it's vertical. Because this looks very reminiscent of a 50s bezel. What do you guys think in the comment section? Just look at how these bumpers are designed. GP Grand Prix. I love these 2 pronounced lines that come down towards the headlight. They taper ever so slightly before going to the rear. Relatively smooth hood. There is a center line going back to the one-piece curved windshield. Look how this edge bevels down. Grand Prix nice and proud there. Front fender. Also look at how this connects with the fender. The wheel wells are flared but capped off with this bright work. This one is sitting on 14-inch wheels. But just look at how smooth this profile is. There is a beveled line running the belt line of the car, but it's ever so faint. Rocker trim at the bottom. This car has an external cowl, as well as opposing windshield wipers. Stainless around the windshield. And that's an easy way to tell if these cars have been redone, is if it's stainless, odds are it's an original car. They don't really, I mean, they make stainless trim, but generally if you get something replaced, it's usually chrome plated because chrome plating is cheaper than stainless. And it's easy to tell on screen what it is. Stainless doesn't have as much of a shine as chrome does. But just look at where this is mounted. It's mounted on the door. So how it's designed. This car does have drip rails. Start at the base of the windshield here, and they run the cabin area. I absolutely love this line here. It works well with this roof. It slopes up. Just check out that back glass. That is one massive piece of glass. Gas filler is on the driver's side. And there's that beveled line that I was talking about earlier. It's ever so slight. But this camera does a really good job at showing it. The rear wheel well is flared, but then it tapers back into the body, and it's capped off with this stainless trim. Our GP badge for Grand Prix. I love this line here. It almost looks like a buttress. And it's got this rear light bar that I don't know. I guess the taillights are just right here, but it looks like it's all one, but it's not. The taillights are just on the ends, but it's protruded out further. Backup lights are down in here. This door has a bit of heft to it, but it's not as heavy as I thought it would be. Just look at everything that's going on. Got carpet down here at the bottom, as well as a light so people can see you when you're on the street with your door open. Bright work separating textures. This is vinyl, and this is a textured vinyl at the top here. Door lock, armrest, as well as door handle to pull the door shut. Door handle to get out. Window crank for the big window. Operates like this. And just look, it's all trimmed out. Coming down inside the pedal box down here. Parking brake and or emergency brake right here. Brake release. This is a vent, footwell vent. High beam switch down here. Brake pedal, gas pedal. This one has Magi Cruise, which is right there. Just take a look at this interior. Here's what over the hood looks like. Here's what first person over the hood would look like.
I absolutely love this translucent steering wheel. Looks absolutely awesome. It has these nice textured lines inside the part that isn't illuminated. This one has the center console feature. And that's what the console would look like. This car is an automatic. Drive modes read park, neutral, drive, super, low, reverse. Ashtray up here.
On to the button switches and knobs, starting on the left and moving right. Tachometer, left turn signal indicator, speedometer. Notice the high beam indicator is that of an Indian head, which is super cool. Right turn signal indicator, headlights, windshield wipers, blower / fan speed, off, normal, rear, de-ice, key, lighter, radio, amp meter, gasoline gauge, clock, speaker, light under the dashboard, manifold vacuum pressure gauge.
Up above, there are sun visors, and they look like this. There is a rear view mirror here, another sun visor over here for the passenger. There is a cutout for the rear view mirror, and it doesn't get affected by the sun visors. On to the glove box test. Here's our test subject. Here is my hand for reference. Here is the glove box in question, but before getting in the glove box, just notice there's a grab handle up here. This dashboard is really nice. It's got all kinds, like look at how it curves with the bright work. It's just a really nice looking dash. Anyway, glove box is right here. Notice it has cup holder indentations inside there. That's a massive glove box. Look at that. You could fit 2 of those cameras in there. And still have room. And it shuts. Getting in the back seat, but before we do, just look at all of the bright work on this seat. Also notice this seat is power operated. And that is how much space you have to get back there. This is what the front looks like from the back. Let's take a quick gander at the greenhouse or the pillar to glass ratio. Really nice in this car. The bright work and everything else just really help it in here. This is what visibility looks like out the rear. Nice big parcel shelf. Let's talk about the seat profile. It does sit rather upright and it does dip down quite a bit in the back here, but it's not uncomfortable. It's very, very comfortable. This is how much space one would have if they're 6'2", full-size adult. Transmission tunnel doesn't come up too far. There's a nice courtesy light here, the base of the console. There is a dome light here in the center. There aren't any coat hooks though. There is a rear speaker as well as nice big and plushy center armrest. You do have an ashtray as well as armrest. The windows do go up and down back here and they operate like this. I think that's so cool. It doesn't go straight up or straight down. It kind of like rotated a little bit. Coming to the under the hood section, the hood release is right here. There's also a secondary catch right here. Fish it out of this hole down here. There it is. Three deuces and a 4-speed and a 389. This one has an alternator, 2-belt system. Just look at how small those belts are. got a radiator up front, 12-volt battery, power steering pump. This one has a single master cylinder for the brakes. It's also power operated. There's an electric windshield wiper motor right there. This one has a plastic windshield washer bottle as well as concentrate to mix.
On the positive side, this might be my favorite Grand Prix of all time. What a nice car. Tons of useful options like cruise control, which was super interesting to see. Does anybody know when the first car to use cruise control that wasn't the hand throttle? In the comment section, I'm interested because I always thought it was the the Continental Mark III. I always thought that was the first car with cruise control, but this car beat it by 7 years. Anyway, I'm always learning things too, and I just wanted you guys to know that. Anyway, cruise control, performance. The camera fits in the glove box, full instrumentation, cool steering wheel. Against it, there's literally nothing that I can think of. There's not much except it really likes to drink high-octane gasoline by the gallon, but it's so worth it. This car is just gorgeous, and if I had the money, it would definitely come home with me. All right, now it's time for Would You Rather. 2 scenarios today. Would you rather have 1963 Mercury Marauder Park Lane or 1963 Pontiac Grand Prix or 1963 Chrysler 300? I'm going to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. Moving on to the second scenario, a bit outside the box. All General Motors products, but which one would you rather have? 1963 Oldsmobile Starfire, which could be had for $4,130. Or a loaded up 1963 Pontiac Grand Prix. Notice the starting price is about $1,000. It's actually more than $1,000 less at $3,490. Or a 1963 Buick Riviera, which was $4,333. I'm going to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. Now it's time for Name That Tune. First person to get both the name of the band and the song title correctly in the comment section will have their comment pinned to the top of it. If you'd like to get in touch with me, shoot me a comment in the comment section below. Check out our Facebook group that correlates with this YouTube channel or send me an email, all of which will be linked in the description below. Just know I appreciate everything that you guys bring in the comment section. And until next time, toodaloo!
Smart and coy, a little crazy, kind of face that starts a fight. Let me tell you about the girl I had last night. And I'm screaming in the night. I know I'm getting hooked on your love. Talking to myself, running in the heat, begging for your touch in the middle of the street. And I can't stop thinking about you, girl.